Welcome to the Simply Mindful Wellness Podcast. Join your host, Tracy, the Mindful Wellness Coach, as she takes a deeper look into nourishing your body, mind, and soul. Because being well creates the freedom to live life the way you want.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful Wellness Podcast. I'm Tracy Richardson, the founder of Serendipity Wellness, and today we're going to be diving into one of those crucial conversations about your health, how you're aging, and what you can do about it. So we're going to take a little deep dive into health span versus lifespan and the recovery plan that you can use as a roadmap to thriving as you age. Because we're living longer than we ever have done before. Many of us are going to make it into our 80s, 90s, or possibly even beyond, thanks to the world that we live in. But here's the real question. Are we living longer, or are we just dying slower? Now, lifespan isn't the same as health span. It's one thing that if you can live a long life, and you can live that life and it's filled with medications, mobility issues, fatigue, brain fog, chronic disease, it's going to be one thing. But what if you find yourself in your 70s or 80s struggling with the daily activities, aches and pains, and lots of degenerative conditions? Now flip that on its head. Imagine another scenario. You reach your 90s with energy, strength, mental clarity, independence, and vitality. And you're able to travel, you can move with confidence, and truly enjoy your life. Now, the good news is this is possible. So in today's episode, we're diving deep into what's driving the epidemic of premature aging and poor health in midlife women, the real reasons behind fatigue, weight gain, metabolic dysfunction, and hormonal imbalances, the key habits that determine whether you will thrive or struggle as you age, the essential steps that you can take now to protect your health for decades to come, the recovery plan, which is a powerful, structured approach to reclaiming your vitality, and why waiting for symptoms to appear is the biggest mistake you can make. So if you're ready to take control of your health span and not just your lifespan, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. So the health crisis that nobody talks about. So let's just be honest. Most of us don't give aging much of a thought until we start feeling the effects. I know certainly throughout my 20s and most of my 30s, I didn't think about any of it. But by the time you get some of these symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, your libido crashes, you get these metabolic issues, things showing up in your body that you don't recognize, it's a sign that your body's actually been struggling for years. And here's the scary part. I often see women in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and they experience these issues daily. I know, daily, every single day. They're going through gut dysfunction, migraines, unexplained weight gain, hair loss, sleep problems, anxiety, depression, and loads of other things besides. And we've kind of normalised this as it's just part of getting older, or my favourite term, it's just perimenopause. So I just want to be clear about one thing. This is not just about ageing. This is dysfunctions in the body. And much of it is preventable, particularly through your 30s and 40s. Now, the way you feel right now is a direct reflection of what's been happening in your body for years, decades. So we're talking 10, 20, 30 years. Everything that's led you up to this point. And if you don't address the causes of this, they're only going to get worse. So let's look at the good news. You have the power to change this trajectory, and you can start by doing things today. So I'm going to talk about 5 tenets of health span and what actually determines whether you're going to be thriving at 90 or whether you're going to be struggling. And it all comes down to these 5 key things. So blood sugar and metabolic health. If you have poor metabolic health, it's one of the biggest drivers of premature aging. If your blood sugar is on a roller coaster all day long and you're setting yourself up for insulin resistance, leptin resistance, stubborn weight gain, and chronic inflammation, all of which accelerate the aging process. So what can you do? Prioritise in your diet proteins and healthy fats. Avoid UPFs, ultra processed foods. And with regards to sugar, we need to stabilize it. We need to stabilize that blood sugar so that you have better energy, a better mood, and better metabolism. Then we're going to look at your gut health and inflammation. So things like chronic bloating, IBS, reflux, and any kind of gut dysfunction don't just affect your digestion. They drive what we call systemic inflammation. So this is deep within the body and all around the body. And it disrupts your hormone imbalance and impairs your immune function. So what can you do? We need to look at a whole food diet that can help to heal the gut. We need to look at managing your stress levels, because once we get into that nice socially engaged state and we're regulated, we can digest and assimilate food better. And we need to remove any inflammatory triggers. So these can be things from the environment or things that you're ingesting, as in foodstuffs. Number 3, we need to look at hormone balance and nervous system regulation. So as I've just said, your hormones don't just decline in midlife, they become dysregulated due to years of poor nutrition, years of stress, and other kinds of lifestyle factors. So what we need to do is support your adrenal glands by reducing that stress. We reduce the chronic stress by regulating the nervous system. And the best thing to do is to work with a practitioner who understands this, because it can be a minefield of information out there. So do your homework, do your research, or by all means give me a call. You need to look at your muscle and your bone strength. So one of the biggest predictors of longevity is muscle mass. And women who maintain their strength and mobility live longer and healthier lives. And also in later life, it can help to prevent falls. So what you need to do, you need to be doing bodyweight exercise or lifting weights. You need to be doing some gentle activity like walking daily. You need to be moving and regulating that nervous system. So things like Pilates, Pilates is brilliant. And prioritizing protein in your diet. And then we need to look at your mindset and lifestyle changes. So you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't take any action, nothing changes. And I know this for a fact because I have an array of tools in my toolkit. But your daily habits are either moving you towards health or away from it. So you need to make these little nudges, these micro wins as I like to call them, to make sustainable change, because small consistent habits will equal a huge result over time. Now, why do you need a proactive approach? Because here's the bottom line. Waiting for symptoms to appear before taking any action is the biggest mistake you can make. Most chronic conditions like diabetes, osteoporosis, dementia, heart disease, things like that start developing decades before you get that diagnosis. So if you're only addressing them when they become a health crisis, you've already lost valuable time. And this is why I created the Recovery Plan, which is a 90-day personalised health programme designed to help you take control of your health now so that you can thrive for decades to come. I just want to talk a little bit about this recovery plan because it's your roadmap to thriving health. So inside we tackle nutrition and metabolic health, nervous system and stress resilience, blood sugar balance, gut health and inflammation, nutrient optimization, strength and movement, hormone testing and regulation, and personalized strategies for you and your body. We don't leave any stone unturned because real lasting health requires a comprehensive approach and not quick fixes. So I just want to talk a little bit about a real life transformation. So I have a client and we're going to call her Sarah. Her name's been changed obviously because we don't want to talk about it, but she's happy for me to do this if I've changed her name. And she took part in the recovery plan the end of last year, 2024. So she's a high achieving woman in her mid-40s and she was just exhausted, struggling. She started to put on a bit of weight. She'd just lost resistance to any kind of stress and she was beginning to feel really disconnected from herself. She just didn't feel like herself at all. This all started with bringing awareness to what was going on and a comprehensive assessment, and we tracked her energy levels and her symptoms. She changed her nutritional status by altering her diet, by removing processed foods, ultra-processed foods, and balancing her blood sugar. She implemented things like breathwork and Pilates for nervous system regulation and significantly reduced her stress levels. And after the 90 days, she had more energy, her digestion was better, and she'd regained her confidence. This is the power of the recovery plan in action. And this was just 90 days. I still get messages from her now. She's still following through on it, and her health is just going from strength to strength. So let me ask you then, how do you want to feel in 10, 20 or 30 years from now? Because the choices that you make today are shaping your future health. Now, the doors to the recovery plan are currently closed. They'll open again in May. But what I'll do is I'll add the link to the show notes so you can learn more about it, or you can reach out to me for any questions, and I'm happy to chat. So there we have it, folks. Until next time, take care of yourself, because your future self is going to thank you. Love and wellness, Tracy. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Simply Mindful Wellness podcast. Join us next time for a new episode.